Oh, I didn't realise it was running. I'm Dark Shades and I'm broadcasting out of the United Kingdom, well, east of England actually. And welcome and thank you for allowing me into your space for a little while and onto your phones and into whatever device you have. If you are interested in what I talk about, please subscribe because I am a bit ad hoc. I kind of record 1 minute and then I don't record, so you don't want to miss anything. I think most of what I talk about is what other people have asked me to talk about. Today's the one I'm going to do now, is based on my own kind of feeling. Every now and then I get a desire to speak or, some kind of inspiration. So today I just wanted to talk about stress generally. Who's experiencing it, why they're experiencing it, how they're experiencing it. And I think it's a very pertinent subject for today. So please subscribe, like, share. So stress. What is stress? Stress is when you feel down, you're feeling upset, you're nervous, you're anxious, you have heart palpitations, you have panic attacks, you can't concentrate, you can't sleep. It covers a gamut, and you wouldn't realize how it affects your health. Because if you're worried and anxious about things, it is going to affect the way you think, the way you do things. It's going to affect your behavior. It's going to affect your attitude. It's going to affect your interaction with other people, with your partner, with your children. And, how do you stop it? How do you stop feeling stressed when everything that's going on today is kind of just pummeling at you from all angles? How do you stop it? So I think first we have to acknowledge, a lot of us have to acknowledge that we are actually stressed. A lot of people, when you say to them, are you okay? Are you coping? Yes, I'm fine. Yes, I'm okay. I'm just a bit under the weather. I just can't be bothered to get dressed this morning. I can't be bothered to tidy up. I can't be bothered to have a wash. And these are the little things that allow you to know that you're starting to get depressed and you're starting to feel stressed. When you start not wanting to do the things you used to do, that is a sign. So sometimes people don't realize they're actually stressed. They're going on as normal. They might not have the same va-va-voom, but they are continuing as normal. It's just that they feel a bit heavy. Things seem a bit more difficult to do. Things are taking longer. You tend to forget things a bit more. You need to write down things more. You need to take notes. You forget appointments, you forget to call someone, you get irritated if somebody calls you. All of these are signs of stress. And why are we stressed? We're stressed because we're confused. We're stressed because of the uncertainty. We don't know if we're coming or going. Today I was watching You Can't Pay, Take It Away, and they said every 14 minutes someone loses their home. End of a tenancy, landlords aren't renewing tenancies. You don't even have to be in default and they can want their homes back because they're not quite sure what's going to happen. So there's lots of things to be stressed about. Number one, people are confused with the news. They don't know whether they're coming or going with the news. On the one hand, it seems logical. People are talking about the coronavirus. They're saying it's a deadly disease. Everybody has to be safe. You have to wear masks. You have to confine yourself. You have to have space. You have to hand sanitize. And then you see people like Boris or whoever in the cabinet not having a mask, mingling with other people. You find people even in the House of Commons, they're all together. They're not socially isolating. Then you hear, okay, you can go to the pub for a few hours, but you have to leave the pub at a certain time. And then you're kind of thinking, well, that doesn't make sense because if we're going to get the coronavirus, we could get the coronavirus within those periods that we're in the pub. What difference is it going to make when you leave the pub? And then you think, oh, well, you can go to the supermarket. Hasn't got a curfew on it. And yet look how many people go to the supermarket. So people are confused. You can take your kids to school. So what's happening to all the parents that you're meeting on the way to go to school? So it's that confusion that is causing stress. And then when you think about, you're hearing about the lockdown, Manchester is already, I think, at tier 3. Then you're thinking, oh, I wonder if it's going to come to my neighbourhood. I wonder if I'm not going to be able to work. If I can't work, what am I going to do? I don't really want to go on universal credit. How am I going to pay my rent? How am I going to pay my mortgage? Stress! It's stress. And the thing is, it's things that are out of your control to a degree. I mean, to a certain degree, you can kind of think, oh, you can anticipate what's going to happen and think to yourself from now, what can I do? What can I do to mitigate this? What can I do to alleviate it from hitting me so hard? But for the most part, you're just like sitting ducks. We're all like sitting ducks, not knowing what's going to happen. Then you've got the time wasting. You're stuck in traffic. A friend of mine called me. She goes, oh, you know, they're building a mosque on, or they've got this new mosque at Blackbird Hill, and the traffic is horrendous, she said. A friend of mine was telling me they've got so many roadworks. They don't know where all these roadworks are coming from, you know, but everything is delay. Stress! Sitting in traffic, wasting time when you know you've got somewhere to go, things to do. Heightened stress levels. Why is it all, what's going on with the roads? Why can't they organise them in such a way that they're not causing so much havoc? I don't know if they're putting in the 5G poles or what they're doing, or more cameras so that they can see what people are doing. Who knows what they're doing? But it's causing stress when you're stuck in traffic. And unnecessary stress. And sometimes you can't even turn the car around. You're in such a position that you can't even get out of it, which is even more frustrating. So you've got the poor parking people, double parking, people leaving their doors open while they're doing stuff. I mean, you know, that some people just lack consideration. That's frustrating. That causes stress. You have your door open out in the street. Why can't you open it on the passenger side and do what you're doing? But oh no, they open up the door, and it's not like they're thinking, okay, I'm going to open up the door, I'm going to cause convenience, but I'm only going to take a couple of minutes. Not even a couple of minutes, a couple of seconds. I just need to get my bag out. Oh no, they leave the door out. I don't know what they're fiddling and farting around doing in there. But it's like 10, 15 minutes. And then they have the audacity to glare at you if you dare honk the horn, or if you look at them a certain way. Where's people's consideration? You're holding up the traffic. Cars have to go out, stop cars from the oncoming traffic from coming. And you're trying to get around the car with the door open. And it's just ridiculous. And a lot of times what are causing stress is people's insensitivity. People's lack of consideration is causing even more stress. What's that say? Yeah, and then what else is causing stress? Have you noticed the number of police cars and ambulances? I mean, I've never seen so many ambulances and police cars. So what is that about? Then you're kind of thinking, oh, you know, you don't see an accident. You see helicopters, you see ambulances, you see people in white coats, and you're like, what's going on? It's nerve-wracking. What is going on? Are they picking up people to isolate them in the ambulances? Because obviously there's no accident. Is that what that's about? We don't know, and I think that's what I mean. It's the confusion, the uncertainty, the not knowing what is going on that is causing stress. That's affecting people's mental health. So, and then that kind of filters down, doesn't it, into relationships. You know, you get irritable, and then God forbid if you've got the male menopause or the female menopause. The male menopause is bad enough. They're grumpy, they can't sleep, miserable, unhelpful. And then they're stuck in the house with a missus that they don't really want to be stuck in the house with. And then you've got a woman who's going through the menopause. She's sweating like a pig, and she needs to take her clothes off, and she's frustrated, and she's hot and miserable and uncooperative. So you've got people in the house, and you've got the kids screaming and wanting to go to their room and making noise and asking what's on and asking where their dinner is. And you ain't got the money to buy what you're usually buying for them. And they don't understand the implications of what's happening, so they are being demanding and screaming and making noise. Stress! It's stress. Then you've got people dying like goodness knows what every minute. I mean, I've been hearing some celebrities dying only because when I say celebrities, I mean famous reggae artists are dying. So then you've got that to take into consideration, because when you hear about people dying, it reminds you of your own mortality, doesn't it? So then you think, oh, what have they died of? Have they died of the coronavirus? What have they died of? Everything is so kind of surreptitious. You're not hearing about why people die. And then, and I think it's still the fact that you can't go and see relatives in hospital. So you've got that stress. If your parents are in a care home, or your grandparents are in a care home, you can't go and see them. That is stress. Then your bills are piling up. You've got no money coming in. What is someone to do? Children, sometimes you only have them for a little while. You're not sure whether or not, if the lockdown, you're going to be able to go and see them. I think they do allow, if they're going to do what they did last time, they will allow you still to go and see your child if you live separately. I mean, of course, you'll have to prove it. And I think a lot of key workers are starting to get these letters now to say that they are able, if they do get stopped, they are essential key workers. So I don't know how that works if you're going to look for a child who's out of the area. Don't know how that works. I guess we'll have to wait and see. I think the next COVID amendment should be around the next couple of days, I would imagine. I know it's not long. As if it hasn't come out already and I've missed it. Yeah, and then they've also got the people who are kind of worried if they live separately, whether or not they can see their partners, their spouses, their family members. So you've got all of this accumulation of stress and people not quite knowing how to manage it. And the only way you can manage it is by asking yourself, can I change anything that's happening? And if I can't, is it worth worrying about? Is it worth me getting myself in a tizzy? When you're waiting in traffic, is it worth getting worked up about? Or can you just say, look, this is a position I'm in. Nothing I do is going to make this traffic go any faster. You can't even talk, you can't even call anyone these days and let them know you're running late, because even though the law isn't coming in that you can't touch your phone until the new year, you still aren't meant to have your phone in your hand while you're behind the wheel. So it's always good practice. If you're supposed to meet someone, just say to them, look, if I'm running late, it is probably because of traffic. As I'm driving, because I'm behind the wheel, I won't be able to let you know how late I'm going to be unless I can pull over somewhere in a petrol station or somewhere. But I am on my way. And I'm sorry if I'm late. But you can always say, I've given myself enough time. But ring people before you leave. Look for ways to reduce the stress. That's the most important thing. When you're going on the motorway is so unpredictable. So plan that in your head. There might be an accident. I might be delayed for a couple of hours. What can I do to reduce that stress? Okay, if you know it might be delayed for a couple of hours, if you've got someone to meet, you can tell them, look, I'm going on the motorway now. I should be there in 35 minutes to 40 minutes. But if you don't see me by that time, you're going to know I got stuck in traffic. I'm not going to be able to call you. That reduces the stress for that. If you know that you might not be getting the money that you need, or you might not be getting a job, now is the time to start looking at ways to get money in from whichever source, whether it's through bank loans. I think they've got some kind of schemes out there available. I'm not quite sure what the schemes are, but I know they've got schemes for people who are normally working and who are furloughed and blah blah blah, and you're going to have to see how they can help. With regard to your family and your husband and your spouse, you are really going to have to be patient and tolerant and understand each other's issues. Talk to each other, because you don't want an argument on top of everything that's going on outside the house. At least while you're in the house, let that be peaceful. Let that be your peaceful ground. Talk to the children, say, look, this is the situation. A lot of parents, they don't want to tell their children when they've got money problems. They just pretend everything's normal. You can't do that. Children are resilient. They know what's going on. Tell them, look, son, look, Sally, or whatever the daughter's name is. We thought we'd be able to do this. We thought we'd be able to provide for you, but, you know, our hours have been reduced. And we can't afford to do A, B, C, D, and E anymore. Maybe in a few months' time, when all this isn't over, things can be back to normal. But for now, please don't ask us for A, B, C, D, and E. Please try to work with us. Please try to be more quiet. Please try to be more cooperative. You know, talk to them. Tell them the truth. Tell them what you're going through. I think I used to be a bit too honest with my children, because I told my children everything. Every kind of problem or stuff I was having, they knew. But it helped them to kind of understand why I might be behaving in a certain way. And I think children want to be involved. Start having the table get together as an opportunity to talk. Start bringing the family back. You know, your husband, your wife, if it's just a single family, you and the kids, sit around the table, talk about what's going on, talk about how it's affecting you. Because at least if everybody lets it all out, they might get angry, they might get upset, but they're letting it out. And it's a way of letting off steam. And it's a way of diffusing frustrations and helping people to understand what you're going through. So like I said, that you can't control everything. You can't mitigate against all of the different scenarios I mentioned earlier. But what you can do, anything you can do to kind of lessen the blow, to make you feel less stressed, you can do it. Try to do it. Like I said, conversations, family meals. If you can't see your partner, you know in advance that there's going to be a lockdown. So talk to your partner in advance. Look, we might not be able to see each other, so we're going to have to FaceTime and we'll have a talk that way. It's not the same as a cuddle. It's not the same as a face-to-face chat, but it's adapting to the changing situation. And things are going to change, and they're going to change drastically. So you need to be prepared for it. And it is difficult preparing yourself for something that you've got no idea what it's going to look like. I read in the newspaper today that they're talking about the vaccines are going to be available in as early 2021. I don't know how, But it's disconcerting because on the one hand, you're hearing they haven't been tested. All of a sudden, these vaccines are coming out of nowhere. Where are they coming from? Have they been tested? Have they been tested on humans? So there's lots of things people are worried about. People are worried about their businesses. People are worried about work. You know, today, even yesterday, Saturday, I went into the town centre. And there was, normally you can't even get a parking space. Plenty of car parking spaces. Go to the nail shop. The nail technicians are sitting there with nothing to do. So you can see the shops closing down. And, the little restaurants closed down. Things saying to let. It is quite, it can be depressing to see businesses closing down and people not coming out anymore, because really and truly, if you're being told that the coronavirus is everywhere, who wants to go out? Who wants to be on the street mingling and you don't know where you're going to get it from? So you can understand people staying at home. I mean, sometimes I'm pretty good at staying at home. Really, really good. But sometimes I'm just like, oh, I need to get out. I don't care where I go. Like a lady at work, she was saying, I don't care where I go. Just get in my car and drive. That might not be possible in a couple of weeks' time. Maybe even sooner. We do not know what's happening. But what we have control of, we need to control. You can control your mind. You can control your thoughts. You can control how you think. And once you can do that, you can control how you react, how you behave. That is all. You have the power as a human being over the animals to control your mind and control how you think. And so that is going to have to be your resilience. That is going to have to be your strength. And for those who have faith in God, they'll be holding on to that faith more than ever now. Because it's either faith or fear. There's no in between. So, I hope you found this helpful. I'm not even quite sure where I was going with that, to be honest, because I'm not quite sure if I gave you any resolutions, but I think I did. Anyway, take care of yourself. And like I said, you change your thoughts, you change your outcome. And that's all for now. Bye-bye.